Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Gear Talk, and this time I'm going to talk to you about the Pentax Program A. Before we begin, as usual, if you want to support the channel, please put a like, subscribe and share with your friends. If you want to do something more, check out my books, Inject Fine Art Printing. It's everything you need to know to create fine art with your inkjet printer. Photography, Dev Manual, perfect for film or digital photography. And Lasting Photographs, a novel with a photographic plot, very good reviews online. This sale, let's talk about this camera that is the Pentax Program A. It was called Pentax Program A on the European market. On the American market it was called ProgramPlus, but are the same exact camera. This camera came out in 1984, so it was the generation after the M generation, so after the ME Super, MX and all these kind of cameras. And the revolutionary, the different part of this camera, it was that it had a program setting for the exposure. So it was a fully automatic camera that, coupled with the A lenses, was able to have a program mode of exposure, so to select the shutter speed and aperture automatically. The Program A was a reduced down version of the Super A or Super Program, depend on the markets. And the only difference between this and the Super Program was the lack of a top LCD, and the shutter speed that was limited to 1,000th of a second instead of 2,000th of a second. So there was not all that difference. The Program A is a camera that is very cheap to find. I got this with the data back and the winder. There was the ME2 winder and it was around 20 bucks. So it's very cheap to find and is a very great camera for the money. This camera was basically an evolution of the ME Super, and it retained the same mechanical things, the same mechanical system inside, very similar in the electronic part. You can choose the shutter speed with these two little buttons on the top as the ME Super. What was added to this camera was the program mode. The program mode is very simple. You put your lens on the A position and auto on the selector on the top, and the camera will decide the shutter speed and the aperture automatically, and it does a good job. We have to remember this is not a complex exposure meter, it's just an average with prevalence in the center, so in normal scenes it does a very good job. Even if you have some contrasty scenes or something like that, like silhouette or similar, you just need to compensate here with the compensation. Obviously you can use the camera in aperture priority or you can use the camera in manual, and that's another great feature. Something that changed from the ME Super is, first of all, evidently if you look at the camera, there was some plastic added, like this grip, the grip back here with the little space to put your film camera reminder and so on. And by the way, I prefer the film camera reminder, the square one in the center, but this works well too. The other difference with the ME Super is the viewfinder, mostly the exposure meter inside. The ME Super and the classic Pentax with the LED on the side to show the shutter speed, and was intuitive with different color LED to see the over and under exposure. In the case of this camera, there's an LCD inside the viewfinder that, by the way, takes the light from this window in front to give light to the LCD, and you can see there the shutter speed and the aperture when you are in program or aperture priority, and you can see the shutter speed and the over or under exposure in case you are in manual. The display will tell you +1, +2, +3, or -1, -2, -3 to tell you the how much over or under exposure you have in the sheet. That is something I don't like too much, because I prefer to still see the aperture if I have display, I will love to still see the aperture also in manual, but it's not really a big problem. So it's a great camera, very easy to use. It has advanced features. The ME Super did have the depth of field lever here, so you can check the depth of field closing the lens at the working aperture, and this is something I really like to have on all my cameras, so this is a great feature to have. As I said, is a lot of camera for the money. If you find it very cheap, it's a very reliable camera. It's very nice to use, so it's an evolution. It's better if you were used to ME Super. This is actually better for these added features like the depth of field, the preview, and the program mode. Something that I don't like about this camera much is that the LCD display inside takes the light from this window. It's not backlighted by an LED or something like that. It takes the light from this window. So when you are in dark situation, you're out at night, or you are inside a very dark situation, or for example you are in a studio with only the flash pilot lamps on the subject, you don't have enough light arriving on this window to be able to see well the LCD inside. So that kind of a limitation, but again, you can find this camera for around 20 bucks, so that's a limit that is not that bad. This camera is precise. The synchro speed for the flash is 100th of a second. This camera can do TTL exposure with some flashes. Pentax flashes can do TTL exposure in fully automatic mode, so you can still use the program with the flash and it will select the appropriate shutter speed and so on. So it's kind of a very advanced camera. As every Pentax, you can select here, you can select push the button and select the ISO for the film. It's very easy and very nice to use. The handling of the camera is very nice. This added grip, yeah, it gives some more comfort. So it's not really it's not a bad thing to have. It's I don't like it aesthetically, but it's comfortable. The camera has a auto synchro for the flash, and it has the PC synchro here. That is, so it can be used easily with Studio Flash. There's a Selftimer. That's a good feature to have for many reasons, and basically it's very simple camera. The databack here is the digital M databack, so it can be put on other cameras and include the ME Super, but in case of the ME Super there are not the contacts to synchro the back with the camera, so you have to put a cord there. But this is a nice feature. It's something nice to have a databack. There's a little problem. It goes to 2019 and then reset back to 1980 or something like that. So Pentax didn't imagine that someone was still using probably this digital back after 2019, and so there's the limit. It cannot be used right now unless you want the data the year wrong on your film. So it's fun to have, but nothing more. This camera is pretty easy to use. The sound is quite nice. In this case it had all the bumpers and the seal replaced, the mirror bumper and the seal replaced, so it's kind of a nice sound, and very simple camera, very easy to use with some features like the program mode and so on, and the depth of field preview that are really good, an improvement from the ME Super. Not very sexy with this grip, is very 80s with all the plastic, but hey, it's a camera that you can find for 20 bucks. And if you want the better version, this is the Super A or the Super Program, you can find it around, I was taking a look around a couple of days ago, and around $100, €100 you can find the big brother of this camera. So Is it worth to buy it? Absolutely. It's a very nice camera to bring around, very good features, very precise. The shutter is electronic and is a vertical shutter, so it's very precise and very nice to use. It's like I said of the Pentax ME Super, the same things here and just a little bit better and more modern. The batteries are the usual two LR44 batteries here, so and they last for years, so it's not a problem with the battery. The compatibility as usual is with all the K lenses, so and if you want with an adapter also with the M42 Pentax lenses. Another camera that if you want to enter on the Pentax brand for film photography, this is a great starting point. And if you already have Pentax cameras, this can be a nice second, third or 25th, in my case, body to have with you. It's just a good camera all around. If you want to buy one of these cameras, something you have to check carefully is that the selector here, the main selector, works well. It's easy to have dirt, dust and something like that going inside the selector, and so the selector stopped works in a constant way. So you have to check it and put in different position and check that every different position works well. Do it multiple times and see that is consistent working. That's the important things to check with this camera. And as usual, check all the seals and all the things that can be degraded, but that is an easy fix and easy to change. At the end, great camera to enter the Pentax system, great camera as a second body. If I'm looking around, yes, I will. I prefer the LX, I prefer the MZS, I prefer these kind of cameras, the top of the gamma cameras. This is nice for the price. If you can find it around 20 bucks or something like that, this is a great camera to have and to go around. At the end of the game, I'm glad I bought it. It's just another piece to my collection, and I don't know if I will use it a lot. For sure there are cameras I prefer, but I'm glad I have this, and this is a good camera. It was a good camera produced by Pentax. Before saying hello, again, if you want to support the channels, put a like, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and check out my books, Lasting Photographs, Photography, the F Manual, and Fine Art in Jet Printing. Let me know in your comment what you think about this camera, if you have it, and thank you very much for watching. See you next time.